Early one quiet morning, inside a deep stone well, a small frog opened his eyes. The well was old. The walls were covered with moss. A little water sat at the bottom, and above him was a small round circle of sky. The frog had lived there his entire life. For him, this well was the whole world. Every day he jumped from one wet stone to another. He caught tiny insects flying above the water. He listened to the echoes of his own croaks bouncing off the walls. And every evening, he looked up at that small blue circle. To him, that circle was the sky. And he believed it was not very big. Sometimes he would proudly say to himself, "This well is the greatest place in the world. Nothing could be bigger than this." The frog had never seen anything else. One afternoon, something unusual happened. A turtle slowly climbed down near the edge of the well. The frog looked at the visitor with surprise. "Who are you?" the frog asked. "I am a turtle," the visitor replied calmly. "Where did you come from?" the frog asked. "From the ocean," said the turtle. The frog blinked. "The ocean?" he asked. "What is that?" "It is a huge body of water," the turtle explained. The frog laughed loudly. "How huge?" he asked proudly. "Is it as big as my well?" The turtle smiled gently. "No, it is much bigger." The frog jumped from one side of the well to the other. "You mean this big?" he asked. The turtle shook his head. "Much bigger." The frog jumped again, this time using all his strength. "You mean this big?" The turtle replied again. "No, much bigger than that." The frog frowned. His mind could not imagine anything larger than the well. He puffed his chest and said confidently, "Impossible. Nothing can be bigger than my well. I have lived here my whole life. I know everything about this place." The turtle looked at the frog quietly. Then he said something simple. "If you want to know the truth, you must come out and see the world." The frog had never considered leaving the well. It was safe there. It was familiar. It was everything he had ever known. But something about the turtle's words stayed in his mind. What if there really is something bigger, he wondered. That night, the frog could not sleep. He kept staring at the small circle of sky. For the first time in his life, he asked himself a question. Is this really the whole world? The next morning, the frog made a decision. I will see it for myself. Climbing out of the well was not easy. The walls were steep. Many times he slipped. Many times he almost gave up. But curiosity pushed him forward. Finally, after many attempts, the frog reached the top. And when he jumped out, he froze. Before him stretched something he had never imagined. A wide green field. Trees swaying in the wind. Birds flying across a massive open sky. The sky was no longer a small circle. It was endless. The frog looked left. He looked right. Everywhere he looked, the world was bigger than he had ever believed. His tiny well had only shown him a small piece of reality. The frog whispered to himself, I did not know how small my world really was. The turtle slowly approached him again. Now do you understand? The turtle asked. The frog nodded slowly. Yes, he said quietly. There is so much more than what I knew. Together they began walking toward the shore. And soon the frog saw something even more unbelievable. Water stretching farther than his eyes could see. Waves moving like giant breathing creatures. The ocean. The frog stood silent. For a long moment, he could not say anything. Then he smiled. The world was not small. His well had been small. From that day on, the frog never returned to live inside the well. Instead, he explored forests, rivers, fields, and shores. Every new place taught him something new. Every new experience made his world bigger. And the frog realized an important truth. The limits of our world are often created by the limits of our perspective. Sometimes we believe we understand everything simply because we have never seen anything else. But outside our small, well, lies a much larger world full of possibilities. And the only way to discover it is to step outside what feels comfortable.